Hey everyone, this is Kim Demer, co-founder and director of operational efficiency at Life Canvas. And today we're here with Rachel Moore but wait, there's more. Rachel, I want to welcome you to Life Canvas, where today we're going to be spending some time getting to know the real version of Rachel, who you are beyond your craft and your profession. So we're so excited to have you, Rachel. Thanks for joining with us.
Thank you. I always like being on this side of the microphones, so I'm really excited to talk to you, Kim.
Awesome, thanks. Let's start off with asking just some general questions for you so that the world can get to know you a little bit better. So, kicking it off, who is Rachel Moore?
Well, I tell you, and I say this because I do have a Google alert for my name. I'm not a bodybuilder. There's actually Rachel Moore out there who is a bodybuilder. It is not me, just so we're all clear. But basically, I am an almost 50-year-old. I turned 50 this December. So I've been going around this planet for almost 50 years, half a century. I'm a nerd. I was really trying to think, like, what's the best way to describe me, like, in a one word? I'm a total nerd. I love to laugh in the face of awkwardness and evil. I do. I dig laughing. I try to laugh every day. I mostly just because I find a whole lot of stuff funny. I'm someone who loves to sing at the top of my lungs in the car with the windows down. So maybe I'm a little obnoxious there, but you get a bunch of like community theater in your past that'll do that to you. And I love to create. I love creativity, whether I'm creating stuff or delighting in other people's creations. But I'm just a nerd, and I like connecting with people. I think the big power on the planet is that we can connect with people and find connections, and I that's what I love doing. I've been told, I always love this, like, people tell me that I do this, but I do find people say that, like, hey, when you're in a discussion, you make sure everybody gets heard and stuff, and I love that. So yeah, big nerd, and I swear, if I'm going to find a way to crowbar Star Trek quotes into this conversation at some point, so we'll just have to see how that goes.
I love it. What is your singing at the top of your lungs, windows down car song?
Oh my gosh. I it depends. It's seasonal. So I love This Is Me from the Greatest Showman soundtrack. I also love uh Always Remember Us This Way from A Star Is Born with Lady Gaga. And actually, that I really should have just stuck with that. Lady Gaga. I love just about her whole portfolio. And so she is often, and she's definitely my go-to for karaoke night. So yeah, it's probably going to be Lady Gaga at any given time.
Awesome. I love that. And I can totally see that for you. At first I went, oh, show tunes. And then you said Lady Gaga, I'm like, spot
Yeah.
on.
Yeah, but she's kind of a show tuner, so there you go.
Totally. Multifaceted, right? Just like you. I love that. Do you feel like you are actually a decent singer, or you just are like, I'm gonna belt it and hold my own and I don't care who's listening?
I'm a good singer, and I don't just say this goes back to people tell me. No, I know I'm a good singer because I've auditioned for shows and performed in them. It's been a
Cool.
minute. I haven't done that in a while. Ever since I had kids, my whole center of gravity shifted. So being in an actual musical, not so much in the cards anymore, because I swear the dance audition part, I can't get past it. But I do karaoke whenever I can. And yeah, so I like singing, and based on people's responses. And by the way, I love going to karaoke. I don't care if you can carry a tune or not. People take such joy in singing their favorite song. It just makes the whole room happy. They do tend to clap for me when I'm done though. So I think I do okay.
That's awesome. Good for you. Okay, awesome. So shifting gears a little bit, thinking about kind of your journey, some of the things that you love to do, right? And how that has shifted. You mentioned your whole center of gravity shifted a little bit when you had kids, right? And how maybe your journey has shifted that as well. Why do you do the work that you do?
Mm. All right. Well, I'm a creative. Ever since I was little, my parents tell me I started reading at the age of 3. I'm an avid reader. And reading has fiction particularly. You do enter this whole world, this whole you can assume the persona of the protagonist you're reading about, the people that they interact with, or the environments they're in. So you do get to enter these worlds. And as such, I'm really thankful for that because I think that really set me on a journey to really appreciate quality creations. Whether that is really smart writing. Some of my favorite writers are Aaron Sorkin, and Victor Hugo is actually one of my favorites for fiction writers. But smart writing, where quick words, smart thinking, dialogue back and forth. I love that stuff. I also really love visuals that cause me delight and make me think. There's always more to stuff. I mean, it kind of goes back to my brand name, right? But I do. I think anytime we can make all of the cylinders in our brains fire off is that's the best thing. It's funny because I was always thinking about how to answer this. Whenever, I don't know if anyone can identify with this, whenever you're like in a group and someone's like, oh, I need to come up with a name for something, I'm immediately like, oh my God. So I always try to think of, can it be alliterative? Can we have it like be a pun or like a play on words or a double entendre or something that's just like kind of, oh, I see what you did there. I delight in all of that stuff. And I think the other piece of that is, so there's creativity, but there's also education. I said earlier, I like to laugh in the face of awkwardness and evil, and I think ignorance is evil. I just think we lose so much in as people when there's ignorance present. And it's not even that people are, that's not on purpose. I mean, it's just not wanting to embrace learning new things or new beliefs or just at least to understand, kind of what's out there. So that's really why I do the work I do as well. So I'm a marketer, I'm a content creator, and I mean, any marketer is going to tell you the biggest thing we do is we educate. We're trying to, hey, let me, just kind of breach into your silo of scrolling, endlessly scrolling on your phone and say, there's something you don't know yet. And can I acquaint you with that? And then I can even tell you more about it. And I promise as a marketer, it's going to make things better for you. So we're always trying to educate. And so that's why I really enjoy what I do, because, whether it's on my content on my YouTube channel or stuff on my podcast, or even just talk, small talk with friends, it's always like, okay, here's what I've heard and learned. Let me add that into the mix. And I want to hear what you've heard and learned. And so, yeah, I just, that's really the driving force why I really love marketing and communications and creating content for it.
Yeah, I love that. I love that you also found the creativity in all of the things that you just mentioned, right?
Yeah.
The reading and the social media scrolling and, play on words and all of that stuff. It was like, what is the creative aspect here? And it's almost like you're seeking that in everything that you're doing. Uh,
Yes.
it's
Yeah.
who you are, right? You're the creative.
Exactly. Like, and not that I'm not alone in this. Ryan Reynolds is one of my favorite people on the planet, just because I feel like I haven't gotten to meet him ever, maybe someday, but I feel like he's someone who does that, where he'll look at something and be like, okay, how can we, A, where did this come from? B, what can we do with it more? And so that I love that approach to it. You're like instantly like delighting in what exists, but then, okay, what can we add to it? Can I help add to it? Can we make it funnier? Can we make it creative? Can we make someone go, ooh, at it? So I love that perspective.
That's awesome. Well, we are tiny but mighty. So Ryan Reynolds, if you are listening, Rachel
Right.
Moore, she's your girl.
That's right. I just want to meet you. We don't even have to have a beer or anything. I just like let's have a little battle of wits. That would be hilarious. You're probably gonna win. It's fine.
Right? I did see an interview where he had some sort of pizza oven at his home. So maybe you can have pizza together.
Dude, my husband will make you pizza, Ryan. He's got a little
Perfect.
ooni outside and he makes really good pizza, by the way. So come on over.
Right? Perfect. Smash me.
That's right. Blake can come too. Blake can come too.
Yeah, well, I'm a huge Blake fan, and I also am a huge Colleen Hoover fan, which she's starring in the new movie, one of my favorites. So we should all just have one big life canvas, but wait, there's more party with Blake and Ryan.
It's not the worst idea ever. I mean, we have a fire pit in our front patio, not our back patio, because we like to watch people. So come on over. We'll make some pizza
Nice.
outdoors. We'll have some beers. We'll have a fire pit. We will watch people and come up with witty things. I think we need to make this happen.
I think it's perfect. I'm gonna hold you to it.
Yes,
And Ryan.
we're gonna do it.
Awesome. Rachel, what do you like most about yourself?
Okay. Um, I'm an I'm an idealist. I was gonna say I'm an optimist, but I don't think that quite encompasses it. And I say that carefully because I'm also pretty self-aware. I am a white woman who is pretty privileged in where I am at life. And I know not everybody has the same exact experience I've had, um, to varying degrees. So
Mhm.
I say that I think that's important context to add to the fact that I am an idealist, and maybe it's because, as a kid, I read Anne of Green Gables and Lord of the Rings a whole lot. I mean, all of those had some, some nefarious factors or characters in there, but there was inherently always this like, hero in the story that things turned out okay, or if not wonderful. But it also, it's a mixed bag either way. But I guess I've always really had hope and have been hopeful that I or the people around me would make the best choices, would impact the people around them and with the best for the best outcomes, with the best intentions. Do I get disappointed in that? Absolutely. And I disappoint myself, but I really do. I don't ever want to lose that. I feel like it helps me approach life. I feel like too, sometimes I can help all of those around me approach life sometimes because my goodness, there's enough things going on in the world that can bring us all down and have. I've been depressed, I've been despondent, I have been hopeless at times in my life. But I really do try to grab on and say, the next day it's gonna feel better. And so yeah, I appreciate that about myself and I don't want to lose that. Do I have two toes barely touching reality and still yes, they're always touching the reality ground we all walk upon. But I still just want to aspire and be like, I think we can all be better and do better. I just inherently believe that. And I don't want to lose that. I like that.
Mhm. How do you feel like that influences the execution of your work and even just how you select the people that you work with?
Mm. Um, this is a great question. I find that I struggle most with working with folks who are not that way. Almost like an Eeyore kind of thing. Now, I say that too with carefully because I obviously those perspectives are important. There and people again have their own backgrounds as to why they approach things, work, life that way. But I do it takes me longer to get to the point where I'm truly just despairing and despondent that this is never gonna be better, this is never gonna get fixed. So, I do in turn then gravitate toward folks who are like, "Okay, well, this bad thing just happened, whether we caused it or it was caused by something else." It's like, "Okay, but, what do we do with it? What can we do to make it better? And is the goal that we don't do that again and we can find our way out of this?" Yes. Solution oriented, I guess would be a great way to say that. But I find that my idealism tends to do that too, where I am really trying to believe the best of the person on the other side of any kind of interaction. In today's day and age too, where so much is via texting and messages. You and I are right now looking at each other across a video so we can read each other a bit. You most of the time do not have that nowadays. You are making huge decisions uh just by typing on a keyboard in response to someone else is typing on a keyboard. So I find that that's been pretty crucial, especially when you're like assuming what the other person's intentions are in that dialogue. You're
Yeah.
like, okay, I have to assume you also want the best here, and you also don't want me to feel like crap, and I don't want you to feel like crap. So let's find the best outcome together, and so we don't both feel like crap. And so yeah, that definitely informs, and
Yeah.
I emphasize I'm not perfect at that, but I try.
Right. Well, I think you bring up so much there, right? Because a lot of style dynamics at play and how you read between the lines and everybody reads the same email with a different tone, right?
Yes.
Different interpretation. And like you said, you're making big decisions, sometimes not even by yourself. You might be using AI or lots of other things related now to help inform your path, right?
Yes.
So yeah, it's a whole can of worms now in a very different environment. I mean, you and I are across the country from each other right now, right?
Right.
Different time zones even, and it's just the way you communicate with people now is so different.
It is, and everybody can be keyboard warriors. And I think, it's really hard. I think inherently as humans, we want to win. I want to win the argument and I want to be right. I want you to be wrong and I want to be right. And it's like, well, can we instead find that path together? Do I have to go, haha, you're wrong and I'm right and have that feeling and make you feel that way? Sure, you could do that, or you could say, okay, but how do we both come out feel like we're winning, or
Right.
at least a compromise and stuff. And granted, there are things in life you should not absolutely not compromise on. But, for the most part, and this goes back to connecting, I think ultimately we could all find ways to say, hey, through empathy, through listening, through understanding, it's like, okay, can we both understand where we both are and find that pathway forward together, especially in the work environment? Yes, I think we can. But yeah, it's definitely, it takes two to tango. And of course, in Slack groups and stuff, there's more than two people there. So it takes all of us to tango, basically, that kind of environment. That'd be messy, wouldn't it be, to be like a big group of people tangoing together? It's not meant to be that way. Maybe the
Like a
host
swing dance or whatever it is where you change partners.
or line dancing. I know I have friends who do line dancing. There we go.
There we go. Awesome. But this is kind of along the same lines, right? If you think about it in a certain context, but what is your number one personal accomplishment?
Ah, so I have I hate saying this, so I have arrived. I have achieved a stage in my life, and I've been here for a little bit, not without fighting for it and going through a lot. I am comfortable in my own skin. And as a woman, I feel like that's saying a lot. We are in a society where every message coming at me, coming at you, coming at any person, not just women, is all about, you're not there yet. Fix something, fix that, fix this, fix that, do better at that, be different than what you are. No. To that I say no. One of my favorite memes on the internet is Bugs Bunny going, no, just like, how about no? And I say that because I like myself. I am not perfect. I will continually evolve into being a better human being. I hope I do. That should be my goal.
Mhm.
But I guess I would say I fit into my own Rachel mold. I am never, I just got tired of trying to fit into these other molds. And I can, that can be physically, y'all, I ain't never going to be a size 6. I ain't never going to be, look like Julia Roberts, which, I'm not. I I'm probably going to wear clothes that maybe don't fit with whatever's fashionable on Pinterest or anything. Oh well, I guess I just kind of have gotten to that point where I'm just like, that's okay. And if you're like, I would never wear that. Well, no one told you to. No one asked you to wear what I'm wearing. I'm wearing what I like to wear and look the way I like to look and color my hair the way I like to color it. And I'll say too, I wasn't always able to feel that way. I hit some really big lows in my life, and I'm not special in that. So many people do. Some
Mhm.
people listening to this might be in a low right now. Um, I have survived those lows, and I do mean literally survive. I'll be really frank here. I have been suicidal in the past. I've been depressed. I have been rejected. I have been lonely. I've been laughed at. I've been bullied. I've been shouted at. Again, not special to me. All of us probably have stories and we can recount about that, whether as kids or even as adults. And I'll also say I've been very lucky and I've been very privileged. I got a whole mixed bag of past back in my background. But I think, and maybe it was the idealism, maybe it was, again, being privileged and having some great people around me supporting me at key moments. Um, that I finally just was like, I need to feel happy in my own skin. I need to feel my esteem needs to be here. Here's where it needs to be. I need to stop trying to keep up with all these standards everybody is impressing upon me, where it's like, why? Why is that a standard? Why does that have to be? And I think we as a society have, hopefully we're always going toward that more open. Why is there a standard? There doesn't have to be that, right? So that's what I would say. It is a personal accomplishment. Because maybe it leads to me, yes, that's why I sing really loud in my car because I'm like, whatever, I don't care what you think next to me. I'm enjoying my life. And you can, roll your window up and not listen to me. But yeah, I think that has helped me when I do run into those maybe conflicts with people, or if I'm having a dialogue or something, or we're entering like, ooh, I just am like, look, I got no I have, my pride does not matter here. My ego can take a back seat for a second. Let's get to a solution here, and how are you feeling and stuff. So yeah, very long wordy answer to say, I'm comfortable in my skin and the way I'm made and all my curves and and all the freckles, and even now, as I mentioned, turning 50, those laugh lines and the wrinkles and their silver hair, which you may not see right now because my hair is green, but they're there. So bring it on, man. I guess that's what I like about myself.
That's awesome. First of all, thank you for sharing, especially the sensitive parts. I appreciate you sharing that information, and that takes courage and vulnerability. So thank you for doing that.
Yeah.
And I think the ability of you to share that also holds true to you feeling comfortable in your skin.
Yeah.
And as somebody who also identifies as a woman, I appreciate, and a lot of what you said really resonates, right? Because I've gone through similar things where your hips are too big, your nose is too pointy, your hair is turning gray. Why don't you have kids yet? Why don't you do this? Blah, blah, blah. There's so many pressures in society. Like I said, not just for women, for everybody. And just the ability to walk through that and be on the other side feeling confident, uh,
Yeah.
I think is amazing. And all of that is part of your journey, right? It's taken a long journey probably to get to where you are now.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
that's amazing.
Thank you. No, thank you for the opportunity to share all that. And like I said, if that gives anybody some hope, or at least feeling like, oh God, I'm not alone. Great. You're not alone. Trust, let's get real about what we all have to overcome to get to where we want to be. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So that is a big personal accomplishment. What's your number one professional accomplishment?
Mm. So I love, I will share with everybody. I took the 20-year path to getting my bachelor's degree. But that's not the professional accomplishment I'm specifically talking about. But what I'm trying to point out is it's the lengthiest of lengthy full circle paths. Because, I mentioned, I have been in community theater. I love performing. I love singing. I just love it. I feel like I thrive, which is funny because we're kind of doing this right now. I thrive in the spotlight. I don't mind talking about myself, or, singing, or, or basically putting myself out there to say, hey, what can I do to help with this? If someone turns, like if I'm in an environment today, and this has happened, where they're like, who can take this microphone and tell people what to do? I'll be like, and I always have that moment where I pause. I'm like, I'll give someone else a chance, but I'm ready to go. And then I just, if nobody steps up, I'm like, I got you. And so I'll do it. So I guess what I would say from a professional accomplishment standpoint, when I first started going to college, I wanted to be like a TV anchor. Like, I talk about Ryan Reynolds, like I cannot act. So let's just set that aside. Let's just be clear. But I love singing. I love being on camera, and I love using my talents, my skills to influence people positively, right? Whether that is educating them or helping them be informed about something or entertaining them. I love when I can make people laugh. Um, but when I first went to college, I dropped out. I worked, and then I would go to college here, and then I dropped out, and then I go to college over here, and I dropped out. So it took me 20 years to finally achieve that degree. And I wouldn't say getting the degree itself was like, oh, that transformed my career or anything. It helped in some ways, but it did at least give me to say, okay, I did that. And I did it through a lot of hard things. I actually finished school. I was going to school online. I had two young kids, and my husband, who, thank God, he was like there to help, because and he went back to school after I finished my degree, because I was like, it's your turn, buddy. That was really hard. And I was working full time at the same time. And I didn't die. It was a lot. I was so tired all the time, but I did it. And now today I'm doing the things that I love. Like I host podcasts where I get to be on video and on microphones, and I get to do what you're doing, Kim, where I get to like ask people to talk about their perspectives and experiences and share it all for the people, the betterment of whoever's listening. And I love that. I get to do that. So it would, like I said, lengthy full circle, but that's my professional accomplishment is I'm doing the thing that I always wanted to do. Wasn't sure I would be able to do it, but thanks to, very long pathway and also the technology we have today and just a aligning of opportunity and luck, I'm able to do it. So that's it. I get to be my handle. Rachel has the mic. That is me now. So I that's my accomplishment.
That's amazing. And that's when you say that's it, that is not it. That is a huge, that is Mount Everest that you climbed to get to
It
that
was.
bachelor's degree. I mean, two small kids working full time and school.
Yeah, I'm the poster child. If any of you out there need me to convince your children to get their degree sooner than I am on. Just let's go. I will show up at your house and be like, let's have a discussion about why you need to do this now. Also, I'm going to be paying student loans probably until the day that I die. So, do it now, do it cheaply, get a degree, and then go do whatever the hell you want.
Right? I love that. Lots of perseverance there, right? Lots of hard work, dedication, seeing the end goal, and honestly, having hope probably through all of that is what
Yes.
carried you.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, there were times I was like, everybody feels that too when you're going through something really hard. You're like, I could drop out. I could do this. I could quit. But yeah, it was just having that hope that things would turn out okay. Or at least best laid plans. Maybe it would turn out exactly the way I planned, but at least I would have, I have the trajectory continues, the journey continues. So yeah, it was definitely having that outlook on it.
Yeah, awesome. So in addition to all of the stories and parts of your life that you've shared, have there been any unique challenges or experiences in your life that have influenced the way that you show up in the world and in the work that you do?
Yeah, and y'all, this is gonna touch on kind of the state of being an employee today. And I say this, I am not an employee of anyone right now. I have my own business and I work for two clients. So that is very much a business arrangement. And I work with the people, the employees at these two clients. So I certainly still have, that kind of collegial relationship with people. But for most of my life, I have worked for people. I've worked for companies, which means I've worked for bosses. And I've worked for a lot of bosses, and I think all of us can relate to like we have all had experiences where we work with really good bosses and we work for people on the opposite end of the spectrum. We work for really bad, toxic people who happen to be our boss and anywhere in between. Um, I I remember I was at a point in my life about 7 years ago. I happened to be working at that time for a very toxic boss. And I was figuring out what my next step was going to be. And I remember thinking, and at that time, I had not yet really managed anyone. I had not really been anyone's boss before then, but I knew I wanted to be. So the next role I went into, I was able to be a boss to some team members. And I remember thinking, okay, I have in my brain a laundry list of all the things, the ways that I've been managed that I hated. And we can all think of it like, anytime we've had a boss who just shows a complete lack of understanding of what it means to be a human, how dare you be late? You can never be late. Okay. But literally things outside of my control. Doesn't matter, don't want to hear it. Bosses who don't understand the other things going on in your life. People who are parents or not parents would get this. It could be a kid, it could be your pet, it could be a loved one, it could be your, house, something your microwave blows up or something. I mean, or you have a hobby. Maybe you like to go do classes or you're an activist or anything like that. It doesn't really matter. What you're actually does matter. Sorry, I don't want to say it that way. It matters what you care about, but that should also matter to your boss. I always just was like, whatever way that I was managed that was negatively impacted me or seemed to just not recognize that I'm a holistic human being, I'm going to do the opposite of that. That was literally how my approach. I'm like, okay, this feels pretty simple. Don't do the things that I've hated that bosses have done to me. And so I took that approach into anyone I happen to manage that I was a boss of, but I've also taken that approach to anyone I just work with laterally, or even people who are, have a higher pay grade or a title than me. I'm like, well, how would I want you to treat me? I'm going to treat you that way. And it's just the grace, it's flexibility. I've worked for bosses where they're like, "Oh my gosh, you're not at your desk at 5:30 p.m. on a Friday. Are you even working?" Meanwhile, I'm like, "Yes, I'm home with my laptop on my own Wi-Fi working, and so somehow I'm getting work done for you, even though my butt is not in a seat at your office building." It's really just recognizing what environment we're in today. I gotta say too, which unfortunately we're kind of seeing things kind of shift a little bit, but COVID was a big eye opener, and my goodness, it proved it's like, hey, people can work from home
Mhm.
on internet. They don't have to be in an office building to get work done for your company. And that was just one thing, but that's what I really, y'all, let's be honest, working for a toxic person can damage so much more than just your work life, because that just pervades into everything that you feel about yourself, or your home life too. My hope is that everybody can get out of that kind of situation and work for someone that does respect you as a human being, and treat you equitably, that they say your name in the rooms you're not in so that you can have opportunity. That they don't see you succeeding as a way that they're not succeeding, that rather that's saying, look, I'm succeeding because you are. So I
Mm,
would that's been, and like I said, I'm not alone in that challenge and that experience. I think so many of us have experienced that. But that has certainly influenced how I show up in the workplace, because it's like I just don't want to feel like a toxic boss used to make me feel. And I want to feel like why can't we all have fun at work and feel good about work? Let's do that. So in a nutshell, that's what I want to do, and what I want the people around me to be able to show up to work.
right. I love that. And I think that to me, when I think about, the tagline, but wait, there's more, right? I think you just really encompass that in answering that question. We're so much more than who we are when we show up at work, right?
Yes.
We might have kids or pets or hobbies or whatever, and you should care about us holistically,
Mhm.
right? Um, because we're more than that.
Yeah. Yeah, like if you literally want, it just doesn't make sense to me why people don't see this. And I know there are bosses. I literally just worked for a boss. Sorry, I shouldn't say literally. I just worked for a boss, a person like this who could not wrap their brains around this. But it's like, do you understand that the happier I am and the more valued I feel, the better work output you're going to get out of me? The
Mhm.
more collaboratively you treat me, I'm going to in turn give you my best. And also, I just can't say this enough. There, it doesn't have to be just like me. And bosses who are like, they're always looking for a clone of themselves, that's the person they treat the best. I'm like, no, 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 no. Let's go find the person who's an introvert. I'm obviously an extrovert. Let's go find a person who, the person who's an introvert, who has no kids, who's so into their hobbies, who they can play video games through the night and whatever, but they show up to work the next day and they're just like, yep, I did the thing I love. Therefore, you're getting the best out of me.
Mhm.
Great. Let's hammer in on that. Let's focus on that, and reward that and value that, and recognize it's like, just because you're not just like me doesn't mean you cannot offer all the good things and bring your best self to work. And shouldn't that be our goal, to make sure it's our best self? Guess what? Our self is more than when we clock in 40 hours a week. So yes to all of that. Just be a great human to the human that you're managing and working with. It's you would think it's not hard, but apparently it is. So
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. And honestly, when we were creating the concept of Life Canvas, right, we were talking about how do we showcase the real version of people. So it's beyond just who you see on the camera or the person that shows up for the interview or whatever. What is the holistic version of them,
mhm,
right? And it's getting to know them on a personal level and appreciating the things in their life that make them who they are, right? And the journey that got them there, and what road they're on or not on or confused about, right? And it's just there's so much more to it.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you sharing those insights. And you're right, people are not alone. I think that's something you've shared a lot in this, and I hope that the
Mhm.
people that are listening and watching this get that, I might be going through something right now. This is a season of my life,
Yeah.
right? And I'm not alone because somebody else has also walked through this.
Yeah. It's so I'm going to share a really quick story. Hopefully this makes people laugh. But this makes me think of when I've been in musical and community theater, right? So if I'm on stage and I've been in this, I was in a show called A Little Night Music. So I'm wearing a wig and I'm wearing a dress and I'm singing and I'm acting. And at that moment, your goal is I want the audience to perceive a certain thing. I don't want them to know that, and this was back in my 20s, I would sweat so profusely in my armpits that I would put a maxi pad underneath each in my shirt, underneath my dress. Because guess what? When you're doing a show, you wear that same costume every show, show after show after show. They don't wash it. Not when you're doing community theater. There is no dry cleaning of that. It is the same thing. So I want to keep that thing from getting so gross and stained and nasty. So I was literally putting maxi pads in my armpits to help absorb any sweat I was having because I'm wearing a wig and a wool dress up under these hot lights. Of course, I'm sweating. Do I want the audience to see that? No, they don't need to know that. They want to be immersed in this moment, but that's the reality. And that's where Kim, I think that's where we have to focus. I think we've gotten to the point where in the workplace, there is a degree of performing. Certainly when you're interviewing, you're like, I don't want them to know anything bad about me so that they want to take me on. But let's be real. You have human beings and we're messy. There's messy life happening all the time. Some of it's in our control, a lot of it isn't. So it's just like, it's okay to learn later, be like, oh, now I have a behind the scenes look that Rachel was wearing maxi pads in her armpits so she wouldn't sweat through the dress. Ha ha ha. But now I know, gosh, that was pretty inventive of you to try to do
Yeah.
that, knowing you were working with what you had. So does that make you better? Yeah. Now, and it just adds context to who is this human being and how do they approach solving stuff. So the messy is fine. And yes, let's get away from this. Like I can only ever show the unmessy part of myself at work. Nah, come on. Let's have all of you. And then we can have the best of you because we have all of you.
So I love that story.
Thank you. Yeah, and don't cut that out because I mean, hey, I might give a performer out there an idea. I'm sure they were all like, "Yeah, we totally do that. Everybody knows to do that." So,
Pretty brilliant though. I'm like, man, I'm not a performer, but sometimes I get sweaty, like in a meeting or something.
oh my gosh, and it's the worst, right? As soon as you know, like, oh crud, I've got a sweat ring under my armpit, and then you're like, well, now I can't raise my hand ever, and
Right? Or
so
I can't take this jacket off, even though it's a million degrees in this
exactly,
room.
exactly. Oh, and all you're doing is like, please don't let me start sweating, just like having actual sweat,
Oh my
perspiration.
gosh.
Oh Lord, there's just so much to that. But yeah, all of us can relate. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And then you're like, how am I supposed to stop myself from sweating in this moment? I'm like,
I know it's crazy. So yeah, let's just acknowledge we all sweat,
let's just normalize it.
right?
Awesome. Well, I'm laughing because I want to say, in addition to the maxi pads,
Mhm, mhm.
but say you have an open canvas, right? There's an open canvas about what your life has been, what you want it to be, its current state, etc. Totally open canvas.
Mm.
What would be on yours?
Oh, I love this question. I actually was thinking about this. So my favorite colors are blue and yellow. Blue, I think it's because I've lived most of my life in Colorado. I love blue sky. We have the bluest of blue skies here because we have a higher altitude. It's almost purple. It's so blue. But blue just to me just it does. It's looking upward endlessly. And so I love blue. One of my other favorite colors is yellow. I love sunshine, which again is why I love Colorado. We have all the sunshine here all the time. Bright sunshine, hope. So blue and yellow would have to be on my canvas. Images of smiling and laughter. Um, Obviously, whether that's me or whatever's being exhibited. I think connection, however we would represent that on a canvas, whether that's a hands on people, a hand on someone's shoulder, people's eyes meeting or connecting, hugging, two people getting a joke and laughing together at it. And then welcoming, always knowing there's room for more. That there's a this isn't necessarily well, maybe you could capture it on canvas. Why not? One of my favorite movies, or favorite lines from a movie rather, there's a movie called Chocolat. And you have to say it like that, Chocolat. I love chocolate anyway. Oh my God. Maybe chocolate would have to be on the canvas too. But there's a scene, there's a line in that movie where there's this cute little, he's a young priest, idealistic also, but he is finally able to give a sermon that he has come up with to the whole town in the church. And so he says, what if we, instead of focusing on the people we should exclude, what if we try to find the people we should include? And I love that line because I just think we're more when we bring more people into the fold. And it goes back to what I said. They don't have to look like me. They don't have to act like me. They don't have to be just like me or think like me. But can they be welcomed in first, and let's discover about each other? Because I think we find the more diversity we have and the more inclusive we can be and say, bring in your experience that's different than mine. You're going to teach me something and I will in turn teach you something, and this all gets better together. So that would be what I'd want to be on my canvas, is just the welcoming, whether it's a gesture of welcoming or just seeing a lot of different kinds of people there. I think that would bring my canvas full circle.
I love that. Is your background, so I see the yellow. Is
Yes.
that blue on your other
It
wall?
is. So, funny story too. So it looks great on camera. If you're in here, it looks like IKEA, and that was not intentional. But I told my family, which they were super nice. This is literally like a transformed storage room in our basement. Who else has that out there, right? Because it's like, hey, I don't have a big house. We did what we could with for office space and studio and stuff. But I remember saying, I want dark blue and I want yellow. And then they did that, and we all was like, wow, so I have IKEA. And that's what these are the colors of IKEA, unintentional, but they look good on the camera, so it's all good. But yes, those are my colors.
Oh my God, I love that. That's awesome. Well, Rachel, this has been incredibly fun and funny and just engaging. I've totally appreciated your time and your willingness to share your story. I think that you've got a beautiful story that you were able to share, and I really do hope that this lands in the ears of people that need to hear it, right? Or could benefit from some of the stories that you shared. So thank you.
Of course. Like I said, open book, no holds barred, messy human over here. And I love when other people feel like they can be free to be messy too. So if this helps anyone be free to be messy, be the messy human you are, because you're glorious, then so be it. But thank you for the opportunity. Like I said, I always love it when I get to sit on this side of the interview and share. So this is so fun.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, Rachel, if people want to connect with you, how do they do that?
Of course. So I mentioned it already. You can see it on your screen, but my handle on everywhere I'm on social is Rachel Has the Mic, MIC. So it's RACHEL has the MIC. So you can find me pretty much anywhere. That's my handle. My website is But Wait, There's More. And more is spelled with 2 O's because that is my last name. So butwaitthere'smore.com. But yeah, I encourage you, like I do like to create content everywhere. I'm on TikTok, I'm on Threads, I'm on LinkedIn. That's a big one. I love if people connect with me there too. But yeah, and just enjoy, and come say hi. If you connect with me, say, hey, I saw your story on that. I'll be like, oh my God, let's talk about it. Who's been the worst boss you ever had? Tell me more.
Yeah.
Or like, tell me what you liked or didn't like or whatever. Let's discuss. So I'm totally open to connecting to folks because all about that connection. Let's do it.
Yeah. Awesome. Cool. Well, thanks, Rachel.
Thank you.